Unmute our special guest. So I brought on my friend LeeAnn, and she is a triple diamond with the company. I am going to let her tell her story though. So LeeAnn, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for being on. If you don't mind, just kind of introducing yourself, telling us your story. We're really excited to hear.
Hi guys, so good to be here. Thank you for having me. I love sharing my story and I just love sharing the journey with people. So this is so nice. So I'm LeeAnn. I have been with It Works for 8 years, which is so crazy to say. I feel like I've literally grown up in this business now, in this company, and it's just a part of who I am. But back then, 8 years ago, I was a broke college student. So I was working or I was finishing up school. I was in school full time to be a surgical technologist. If you guys don't know what that is, that's the person in the movies where they're like scalpel and surgery and then the person hands it to them. You do way more than that, but that's what people know what that person is. So I was going to school for that. My life was really hectic, busy back then. I obviously was in class. I had clinicals. I had hours and hours of homework. I had to go commute to hospitals all over. Like it was pretty crazy, but I couldn't work another job while doing that program. So this was something that I saw was like, maybe I could figure this out. Side note, I never reached out to my enroller. I saw all of her posts. I saw her talking about it. I was very interested, but never reached out to her. She messaged me and asked if I'd be interested. I was very skeptical. I asked lots of questions. So if you have those potentials that are like, right there on the fence and they keep asking questions and maybe they say they're going to join and then they don't. That was me. So just hang in there. Some people just need to sit with it for a little bit longer, and that's okay. But I got started, and you guys, I did not take off. I did not shoot up to triple diamond like Chelsea has in her first, 4 months since coming back. But I did not take off. I was excited and I was starting to like do the things, but I was not all in. And some of you are not all in. And that's okay. Maybe that's not where you're at currently, but if you stick with it, you can get yourself to that point. And I believe we all have a different journey, a different timeline in this company. And the key is not to give up before you get to your breakthrough moment. So I actually finished school. I started my dream job as a surgical tech at the #1 hospital here in Oregon, where I live. And I thought like I had it together. I thought I had my life figured out. Like I was doing all these things that I was told to do, go to college, get the degree, get that job. I got married. And when I got married, I was on my honeymoon. And while I was there is where I had my aha moment that changed my business forever. I was sitting under this cabana, drinking drinks and pizza was being delivered to us from this cabana boy. And I still just remember it vividly, like sitting there and thinking, how can I do a vacation like this all the time? Because that vacation was a wedding present for us. We did not pay for it. We could not afford that. We went into debt paying for our wedding. Like we were living paycheck to paycheck, even though we did the right things and we took all those steps. We were like, how are we ever going to do vacations or buy a house or start our family? Like, how are we going to do this? And I just had this moment of like, why am I not all in with my business? I was still like going through the motions, like posting. I talked about it, but I was not all in. And that's when I made the decision. And then that was in September. Um, and so I decided I was going to go to conference and I went to conference. This is my 2 year mark in the business, you guys. 2 years. I had never promoted, never hit a executive Ruby. I had never gone any rank. And I decided 2 years in, I was ready to go all in. And that's when I got myself to conference. I promoted to executive the day I got there. I paid the Wi-Fi on the plane and I assigned customers on the plane and I promoted while I was there. So special. So like that promotion still is one of my favorites ever. And then at that conference, it changed my life. Put a 1 in the chat if you're going to conference this year. I really hope to see, there's 20 of us on here. I hope there's 20 people going to conference because it is so special and it could be that thing that is like your breakthrough moment. It could be that thing that just is what sends you to the next level. And when I was there, I had those moments And I realized I caught the vision and I was like, all right, I'm going all in. Like I'm doing this. And there was an emerald bonus that was announced right now. There's an emerald bonus. So y'all better be running for that because that bonus is what I was pushing for. And I went ruby and emerald 2 months later. I went diamond later that year in October. And I was also pregnant with my first son through all of this, working over full time, like 50+ hour weeks in the hospital. I had to take call shifts. I'd get woken up in the middle of the night to go into work. I'd have to work weekends, holidays, like all the things, you guys. And I was still doing this on the side of all that and pregnant, morning all day sickness. If you know, you know. And I was like, I just know that this is gonna be the answer to a better life for us. And we're gonna be able, I'm not gonna have to live like that forever. I'm not gonna have to work those hours forever. It's temporary. And that's what got me through that season. And we were able to buy our first house at the end of that year, at the end of 2018. And which was so crazy because at the beginning of that year, you guys, I was making $100 to $200 a month with It Works and living paycheck to paycheck, and we had no money saved to buy a house. And by the end of the year, because of this business, we were able to buy a house. We were able to move. I was able to cut down my hours at the end of my pregnancy, and then I actually left my job in the beginning of 2019, 2 weeks before I had my son. I went on maternity leave early and I never went back since then. So I went double diamond that month, and that's when double diamond is like life-changing rank, I think. It's like seriously where the money is insane and you're like, what am I doing? How am I making this much money? And and then I had my son, and then I've just been a full-time mom since then. It took me a couple more years to go from double to triple, which was a whole nother season of growth and leadership and learning new things and falling down and getting back up. And then I went triple in 2021, the same month that I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And so we got pregnant with her, and then we went triple, and we have been pushing ever since then to go to the next level. And we're just in another season, and that's part of this. Is like I've been in this for 8 years, so there's been so many seasons. Some of them are going to be like high mountaintop moments where you're feeling like it's just everything's going perfectly great for you, and then there's definitely going to be seasons where you're in a valley and you're like, what is happening? And that's normal. That's not just you. If you're going through that, that's just part of business. That's part of life. That's part of just how it is. And it's what you do in those moments is what decides where you go from there. So yeah, that's a little bit of my story.
I love it. I love all of it. I literally have so many notes already. You covered so many things. I do think, something about we don't talk about a lot is because we always feel like we're at the mountaintop, right? But I think going through the valley is the only way that you're going to get to that mountaintop. So I think the going through the valley part is something that we kind of sugarcoat, right? We sugarcoat it. And we all just got off of December, and then we had some hot Januaries. Now we're in February. People are getting their tax returns back. If you're brand new here and you haven't been here for a boom season, like buckle up. It is not fully here. Like I feel like we have not hit our boom season yet. So I'm super pumped about that. And that's normal. But there are going to be valleys. This is a business. And like LeeAnn was saying, like, here's what she said. She never reached out to her enroller. She was watching. She had a ton of questions. Okay. She had all of the questions. And she decided, oh, I'm going on a vacation with my husband, and oh, I'm getting drinks and pizza delivered to me. I want to live a life like this. She decided. She made a decision. Once she made her decision, she said, I had an aha moment. I'm going all in. I was going through the motions. If you feel like you're going through the motions, that's a you problem. And I'm going to say that with a lot of love, but that is a you problem. So she was done playing small. She made one decision, just like how we have all made one decision. If you've promoted at all, if you've promoted, you made the decision to promote. Have you made this decision? Have you made the decision already? Or are you sitting there kind of going, oh, I'm just going through the motions? Or are you all in? I think that's really important. And that's something of your story that I love so, so much. So, something I do want to ask you though is how do you stay so consistent? So, I know you have two littles, you have a hubby, you're kind of just doing all of the things, you're very busy. So, how do you stay consistent within your business?
Yeah, so I am big on you need to have a task list that you're working off of every day and you need to have a schedule because life just gets chaotic, right? Life gets crazy. Like she said, I have now a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and my husband works out of town a lot, so he is gone a lot of the time. Like he'll be gone the rest of this week. So I'm already planned and prepped for him to leave and me to be a solo mom for the rest of the week, and I'm still going to knock out my task list every day. I'm still going to do all the things I need to do for my kids and be present in all of it. And the only way I'm able to do that is because literally I'm on top of my schedule and I know when I'm going to work my business. I don't leave it up for chance every day. That's one thing that I see people do is they just kind of go through, they just kind of go about their day and they don't actually know when are your business hours, when are your office hours, when are you going to sit down and do the host to post, when are you going to sit down and respond to messages, when are you going to do all your follow-ups. If you don't know that in advance, chances are you're probably not going to get to it all, and that's where people think they're too busy to do this, and that's not true. It's you're just not structured enough, in my opinion. So I have a task list I work off every day, and it's literally so simple. It looks like this, and it has a Facebook section, an Instagram section, and you just check the boxes as you do them. And then, like I said, I just know I have a morning routine. I have what I do before my kids get up. I have a afternoon routine during my youngest nap time. And then I kind of leave a spot open in the evening after my kids go to bed. I preferably would not like to sit down and still have to knock out host to post at that time, but it's like my overflow, what I call it. So like if I'm short on host to post or if I've not done X, Y, or Z yet, like that's my overflow time to knock it out. Would I like to be doing that at 9, 10 o'clock at night? No, I would like, if my husband's home, I want to spend that time with him, or, like I want to decompress for the day, but I am a business owner and I'm going to stay disciplined on that. And that's how you make sure you get these things done. Because even though it seems a little, I know some of you have done this, I won't make you say it, but if you're like at the end of the day and you're like, it's fine, I'll do that tomorrow. It's okay if I miss one day of posting. It's okay if I miss one day of getting up my host to post goal. It's okay if I don't post that reel today. Like I'll do it tomorrow. Like we convince ourselves we'll just catch up tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. But then that leads to tomorrow, then you have more to do and then you might push something else back. And then you're consistently doing that. And that's why I love having this task list because you can visually see your week of what you've done and what you literally haven't marked off. So I ask my team all the time if they're not seeing results. I'm like, well, send me a picture of your task list and what you've done. And then there's holes, right? There's always holes. Where did they not check it off? Well, then that's your schedule. That's why aren't you getting that done? That's what you're missing. So that's how, I mean, I stay so consistent. It's just because I'm a very structured person. I have a planner. I know what we're doing. And then the other thing is I have the mindset, you guys, that I'm gonna work this like it's my job. Some people work it like a hobby. And even better, instead of working it like a job, I work it like an entrepreneur would. Because entrepreneurs take it into their own hands and they're accountable for themselves and their own actions and what they do every day. Any entrepreneur out there that is successful will tell you nobody is checking in on them. Nobody's telling them to get up and do X, Y, and Z, to order things, to send things out, to do their marketing, to open their store. Like nobody's telling them to do that. They are disciplined and they do it because they're their own boss. They're their own entrepreneur. And so many people in this business, I hear them tell me, I'm going to be a diamond. I want to be a diamond. I want to make that money. Okay, well, you have to be an entrepreneur to be making that kind of money. So you have to have that mindset, and that means you have to work like that and be your own boss and actually discipline yourself like you would if you were a boss of somebody else. So yeah, that's kind of how I stay consistent.
I love all of that so much. I think, the word entrepreneur used to scare me so much because I was like, I'm not an entrepreneur. Like, I don't have this huge following. Like, people aren't going to listen to me. And then I like think about certain things in my life and I'm like, you know what? Actually, people come to me for a lot of things. Like, what leggings did you buy? Or what brand are you buying right now? Or what this do you like? And so it's like you have to find your niche and run with it. And I think that's really important for us. So something else I wanted to ask you, I love all of that so much. everything you said, but so you did say something where, you have to work this business full time and treat it like a job. So how do you handle, when you are working this business full time, how do you handle maybe some of like the no's or maybe the rejections you get? And how do you keep pushing through that? How are you able to like, okay, I just asked 10 people and then you kind of want to stop almost because 10 people said or left you on red or wouldn't host a post for you or maybe didn't order or whatever the situation might be, but how do you handle that rejection? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, and you guys, this is one of the things that in the beginning of my business, I told you guys it took me 2 years to promote. This was one of those things that had me that I was not able to handle and I couldn't push through it. And so I wasn't promoting because I would only send those 10 messages and then I'd be so scared, like nobody replied, or this person deleted me, or like this, blah, 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 blah. And then you get so in your head of like, I can't send anymore. Like, I just can't do that. That's what I was doing. And I know there's people out there that struggle with that. And it's like, honestly, for me, it became more so I was not so focused on the what ifs, there's no's, what if they don't answer, what if they bleat, that's block and delete together. What if they bleat me? And then like I was so caught up on that. And then I finally changed my mindset and my what ifs of like, what if I find a yes today? What if I get up 20 host posts? What if I sign a distributor that becomes one of my diamonds on my team? What if because I was consistently following up for 30 times and then that person joins and blows it up, right? So like you got to change your what ifs around. Instead of what if the bad stuff, turn it into what if the good stuff happens. And then you will start to and actually manifest the good stuff in. You will start to find the good things. And honestly, when you have the right mindset, the rejection part, you don't even feel it like you used to. Like I now if someone tells me no, if they delete me, if whatever happens, I don't care. I'm like, okay, fine, next. Like, it doesn't phase me anymore, whereas it used to phase me a lot. So you've got to kind of change your mindset around it. And honestly, it's sales, it's business. So stop taking it so personal. Most people take it personal, and that's why you get in your mind of like, why should I don't want to keep doing this. You can't take it personal. Most of the time, they're not saying no to you, they're saying no because they don't have the money or they don't have the belief or it's a they problem. It's not a you problem most of the time. So get that out of your head. That's just sales. And honestly, this kind of goes with follow-ups, but 60% of customers they will say no 4 times before they will say yes. So I've literally had people, I signed people today that told me no multiple times or didn't even answer me multiple times. And then they come back and they sign up. And how many of you had that happen? Right? Like that's part of it. And the reason why they came back to me is because I'm still here. I'm still consistent. I'm still posting. So when they're ready, like I signed 2 people today that literally just saw a post, they didn't even comment on it and messaged me because they saw my post and they're like, okay, I'm ready. And both of them were supposed to order in the past but never did. And they left me on red and totally, they went MIA. So my consistency and my like not letting the fear of rejection or just because they told me no or joined witness protection 6 months ago and they came out of it, like I don't know what's going on in their life. So I need to stop trying to control the emotions around it and assume things. It's not about that. It's not about that. And so they always come back. They do, but only to the consistent ones. So you might be doing the work right now, planting the seeds, watering the seeds, but if you stop, then when they are ready, they're going to find Susie Q that's on their feed instead doing this or something else, and they're going to go to them because they're the ones that are still there showing up. And so you've got to be on top of it. And I have lost people because I wasn't on top of the following up and checking in with people because I assumed they just weren't interested anymore. I assumed things that were not true. It's just me in my own head. So, yeah, don't take it personal. That's just part of business. And the more you do it, the more yeses you'll end up with, the more that you'll be fueled to keep going. And I used to do this all the time with one of my friends, we used to say, I got 30 no's today. That means there's a big yes coming tomorrow. Like it used to be like a game of like, how many no's can I get? Because if the more you get, the more you know you're getting a good yes. Like there's a good breakthrough that's about to happen. And it does every single time. I've never had a moment where it just stops. So you've got to believe in that and just trust the process.
8 years later, you guys, 8 years later, and she's saying, no matter what, if there are no's, there is always going to be a yes. I always say it's never a no, it's just a not right now, usually. And LeeAnn was saying, "Oh, I made assumptions." I've made assumptions so many times. Like, I've made so many assumptions, it's not even funny. And we can be our own worst enemy in that way. So, if you're making assumptions or, someone's telling you no and you're frustrated and you want to throw your phone across the room, like, you have to breathe. You have to breathe through it because I remember one of my friends, and she's a leader on our team, she was telling me, like, I was like, oh my God, this person I followed up with so many times. And she's like, ask them if they got attacked by aliens. And I was like, what? And she's like, ask them, did aliens get you? And I was like, did aliens get you? And the guy wrote back, it was like a guy or something, which is very rare for me to sign any guys, but here we are. And he wrote back and he's like, no, no, let me send you my information. And he was like instantly sending me his credit card. And I was like, okay, I love that so much. Like, did aliens get you? Are you in the witness protection program? Like, what the heck's going on? Like, let's just chat. And I think the more relatable you are, the better it is. And you cannot make any assumptions whatsoever. That's when you're going to get yourself into trouble. So, something you've talked about a lot tonight, and I just love this so, so much, is like your mindset. So, it sounds like you've really worked on that over the last 8 years, and you've been in the valleys, you've been at the top of the mountaintop, you're triple diamond. So I hunted down LeeAnn from a triple and above chat that we're in, and she's constantly in there, and she's constantly enrolling. She's the cutest little profile picture with like her husband and her family, and she's just a doll. So we're like friends on Facebook, and I'm following her, and I just admire you so, so much. So if you don't mind sharing with us, what does self-development look like for you? What are some of your favorite things to do, and how has that helped you grow with your business as well?
Yeah, you guys, there is, oh my gosh, so much growth has happened over the last 8 years. Really, the first two, like I said, though, when I wasn't promoting, I also didn't do personal development. It goes hand in hand. As soon as I started personal development, because I heard it 1,000 times and people were like, you need to be doing this. And I remember being like, I don't got time for that. Like, or, I don't need that, is what you would say. Well, if you're saying that, you absolutely need it. And so once I started taking that seriously, I'm not surprised my business shoots up and I take off. And you can always kind of tell when, if you are lacking on personal development, maybe this week or this month, your business is probably lacking with it because your mindset's just not there. So it's a forever process. And even if I wasn't doing this anymore, I would still do personal development every day. I would still take it seriously and make it a part of my life because I've learned so much and I've honestly become a better person because of it. But for me, I have a whole morning routine, like I was saying earlier. Um, when I get up in the morning, and I get up way before my children. If you have little kids, like get up before them because you will think yourself, your mindset, you're just not meant to wake up to little kids needing to be held and fed and changed and all the things. Like don't do that to yourself. So I get up and I do a devotional time. I read out of my Bible, and then I read a little bit of a personal development book, and I journal. And in my journal, I do gratitude. I talk about my goals for today, this month, and maybe like a longer term goal, but still like maybe within this year kind of goal. So I write those out. So I'm reminded every day, what am I getting? What do I want to do today? How many customers am I signing? How many distributors am I signing? How many posts am I getting? Like, and then I talk about what am I working for this month? What is this month's goal? And then, a little bit longer than that. So I do that. And then throughout the day, I will listen to like podcasts or, all the trainings that are in Road to VIP. You guys, that's a gold mine. Okay. When I was first starting, it was called Show Me the Money calls. And they were on Mondays at like 6, I think. And you had to like call in. You had to like call a phone number to listen to it. And I used to listen to those on my way home from work while I was commuting home. I would just listen to the calls. And so all of those calls, those are top leaders in corporate that are pouring information into you. And you, if especially if you are not yet a diamond or even double or triple, like you should be a sponge with that stuff. You should just be trying to collect as much of that as you can. And that's what I've done. And I still do. I don't have an upline. I don't have anybody that's like pouring into me directly. So I'm always seeking it wherever I can and just be a sponge and hear what's working, be inspired because you're going to hear so many stories from other leaders and you don't know which one's going to be the one that like hits you, but you're going to hear a story that like connects with you and that'll inspire you to keep going. And we need that. We all need that. So yeah, that's kind of what I do every day. I have literally a whole library right here under my desk. There's a bookshelf, like 100 plus personal development books. They always say leaders are readers, and I 1000% agree. I didn't think I was a reader until I started, and then I was like, wow, I can't stop. So I have a million books. And right now, I'll just say I'm reading Do the New You by Stephen Furtick. It's his new book, and it's so good. So good. Highly recommend.
I love that so, so much. So I have another question that I'm just going to throw you for a loop. We didn't really talk about this earlier, but you said something about double diamond and going double diamond and that being life-changing money for you. So if you don't mind, since there's only 20 of us on here, like go ahead and just go like fully like unhinged with us. Like what did that look like? Like double diamond money with no, like what is that life-changing money? Like what does that do for you guys? Like what is it like to go double diamond? What does it feel like? What are the cab runs like? Just all of the things kind of pour into us, if you don't mind.
Yeah, you guys, oh my gosh. So when I went double, like I said, I just had my son. So he was born on February 16th. We just celebrated his birthday, and I went double on February 28th. So literally, like, it was the most chaotic month, but of good stuff. It was a very mountaintop high month. But I knew at Double Diamond, you get a raise. Like, obviously, you're making money, and my husband was my diamond. So I'm making like we both got bonuses for promoting. You also make money because you have a personally enrolled diamond. Like there's so much, and then cabs on top of that, which is if you don't know what cabs are, you've just got to learn about them because they're insane. And I was not expecting this, but my first paycheck that I got in March, my first paycheck with my weekly bonuses and my paychecks combined, I made over $10,000 my first month as a double diamond. And I was literally like shook. Like, how is that possible? Like, how? Like, how is that? That's what I was telling you guys. When I saw those first checks as a double, I was like, what am I doing here? Like, this is insane. And so that is why I was able to leave my job because I was like, I can do this from home with a baby and I don't need to. So that's one of the biggest things. But like we set a goal because when you start making more money than you've ever made, you've got to start figuring out where it's going to go. Otherwise, it goes wherever and you lose track of it. And so we made a goal to save $10,000 in the first like that year. We did it in 5 months. Like it was crazy. We did it in 5 months. And then I was like, and then we were paying off first, we paid off all of our credit cards, we paid off all this stuff. And I was like, okay, let's save more. Like, I don't know what to do. Like that's the kind of money that we were making. It was so crazy and it just keeps going from there. Like you can keep running with that momentum and growing your team and then you get other people to catch that vision and then they're experiencing that kind of life-changing money and then that's how you get all the way to ambassador. So, yeah, that first year of double was so crazy because I had never experienced anything like that before. And like, I grew up so poor, you guys. I grew up with a single dad that took care of me and my brother. And we lived in literally little shacks, studio apartments. We grew up with the bare minimum. So to have been able to accomplish something like this at such a young age and then as a brand new mom, it's it's just so crazy. Like I'm so grateful. Um, any of us can do it. Doesn't matter where you came from, your history, or what anything looks like in your life, you can do it. And so I just love our company. I love the opportunity that it's given every single one of us. It's amazing.
I love you so, so much. I appreciate you for being on with us tonight. Can we get some zeros in the chat for like round of applause? Because honestly, this was so good. Like we just kind of needed this little like heart to heart. I'm glad there's like just like 20 of us. It's like nice and intimate. We just can like talk about all of the things. I really do appreciate you. You've done so much. You know, I just think there's so many things that you said, and something really, really that's sticking out to me right now is conference. So if you have not got your conference ticket, like you need to buy it now. You're like buy your conference ticket, be done with it. Make sure you're at conference, okay? Be there. There's something like LeeAnn was like, I was signing customers on the airplane, and that was my favorite promotion. And she promoted to executive. Like she didn't even know what she was doing yet. And so I just love that. And once you go to conference, people really see like you're serious. Like I'm serious about this and I'm here for it. And yeah, Jamie Beck wrote in the chat, she watched me sign 6 distributors at conference. It was literally the last day. But everyone that was watching me for the last few months was like, oh my gosh, you flew all the way to Florida with a new baby, blah, 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 the whole story. And that's how I found my runners. That's how I duplicated myself. So, are you guys wanting to duplicate yourself? And then ask yourself, are you doing the work right now that you would want to duplicate another Chelsea? Like, do you want another Chelsea? Do you want another LeeAnn? Do you want another Jamie? Do you want another Kayla? Do you want another Shawnee? Like, are you showing up in the ways that you need to show up? And self development, I think, is so, so key. And then also making that decision, having that aha moment with yourself. It's scary, but like, stop counting yourself out, especially right now, especially during this boom season we're about to go into. And we're like literally full force going into it. You guys don't even know what happens. Some of you don't even know what happens yet during the next few months. But this is where you get into those 40 to 70, 80, 90 enrollments a month, and it comes easy. It comes a lot easier. It's a lot more fun. The sun comes out, the weather gets nicer. Like we have to wear less clothing. Women are putting dresses on. Like they're literally hunting you down on Facebook. They're like, "Where is she? Where's that girl I talked about all of December, all of January, all of February? Like, let me find her." So make sure you guys are putting in the footwork too. So that you guys can have that big boom and you can have that big mountaintop high. And then if you go through the valleys, like we're such a close like team, we'll go through the valley with you. We'll be there for you in the valleys. It's going to happen. It's life. It's a women run industry. Like valleys will happen and that's normal. But LeeAnn, I love that so much. If there's anything else you want to close us out on, I would really appreciate that. If someone is on the cusp right now, this is the one question I do have. If someone is on the cusp, they've already kind of like went on a run before, they maybe went emerald, they maybe went diamond, they went on a huge run and they hit the top of the mountain, and now they're just kind of like maybe like down at the middle, but they want to get back to the top of the mountain. What would you say to them to say, hey, right now during this time of the year, during this time of business, here's how you get back to the top? Or they're still maybe in their builder bonus period, or they just promoted to diamond, or they've promoted to diamond, but they want double so bad. What would you tell them right now to get back to the top of that mountaintop and plow through it?
Yeah, so the time is now. I heard this on a podcast earlier where they were talking about stop making these goals, like stop pushing them out and stop saying like this is a marathon. Like stop saying those things to yourself. Like you're definitely going to have times where you're not sprinting because you cannot sprint 24/7 every day of the year. You cannot physically do that. But you are going to be in sprints. And right now is the time to pick up the pace and start sprinting. So you've got to evaluate what that looks like for you. You know what you're doing and what you're not doing. So you need to sit down and be real and honest with yourself. And maybe you need to sit down with a leader or someone else that will point it out for you if you don't see it. But you've got to figure out what that looks like and what sacrifices you're going to make during this season of sprinting. And it feels like a sacrifice until you start winning. And then you realize it's an investment and you will never miss whatever you sacrificed. Okay, I promise you, you won't. And like I said earlier, really to start with a decision. And I'll just share really quickly when I went on my triple run, what happened, because this will probably relate to some of you. I was a lifetime double diamond in December of 2020. I was paid as a diamond. And that's when we were making our dream boards and we're talking about all the goal setting for the new year. And a lot of us have probably done that, but have you made progress yet? If not, you probably didn't change much from when you made the goal to now pursuing the goal. You have to make changes to get different results. And so I knew that at the end of at the end of December, I was like, I am going triple in March. I'm doing it. I'm going triple. I don't know how, who, what. I don't know any of the details, but it's happening. And I need a lot of volume. And I need people that are going to do it with me. Because to go triple, it takes the whole team. It is not a one person job. And so I made that decision. And then I decided what's gonna change. Well, I needed to clean up my morning routine. I was getting too relaxed. I was not very disciplined. So I started waking up earlier, get on morning accountability Zooms with at least one other person if you need to do that to get yourself up out of bed and do it. I cleaned up what I was working on. I evaluated what works, what signs customers, what signs distributors. I'm only doing those things. I'm not doing any of the other stuff. That is fluff. That is not for right now. I'm pushing those things aside and I'm going to run with what works. I need to spend my time on what's going to give me the enrollments. And so that's what I did. And so I re-ranked to double in January, and then we went triple in March. And that month they had a special promotion where it's called Winner Circle, and like the top 40 point earners or whatever got to go to the Pentecost Ranch and got to stay in Florida and do all that. And I remember at the beginning of the month when they announced it in March, the month I had decided I'm going to go triple, which starting that month I still needed like, I don't know, 15,000 in volume or something crazy. And I was like, how am I going to do this? And they announced it and I was like, I'm not even going to worry about that. Like, I don't want to pay attention to that. Like, I'm focused on going triple. And then I thought about it and I was like, why am I not pushing for that? If I'm going to tell my team they can do whatever they set their mind to, if they make the decision they can do it, why can't I do it too? And so I said, we're going to win our circle team. We are doing this. We're going to figure it out. We're going triple diamond. You're going diamond. You're going diamond. You're going diamond. Like, you're going ruby. Like, everybody knew what we were doing as a team. We all made the decision together and we ran. And that month was insane. I signed like 84 customers and we earned winner circle and we went triple diamond, and it was just so incredible. But it came from 3 months before, when I sat down, evaluated my situation, made the decision, and then I figured out what needs to change and I changed it. And I focused on what works and none of the other fluff that goes with all of this. So if you're in that spot right now, evaluate where you're at and make the change and go for it. Go for it hard right now. Anything can happen. And if you don't hit it in February, you're going to push extra hard in March. And then guess what? Conference is in April. So it'll keep going, but you've got to make that decision and figure out what you need to change in order to get there. And that's where I think so many people stay stuck, is because you're not changing anything and you're expecting different results. And that's the definition of insanity. So that's my advice for you guys.
I love the part about the fluff so much because I really focus on only the things that work just because it's like the red in me. I'm like, I only want to do what works. I want to make money. So let's do threes in the chat, okay? If we're going to focus on what works and if we're not going to leave any money on the table. Because like LeeAnn just said, she said, okay, March, there's bonuses. So decide now because in March you can earn the bonuses. And then come April, there's conference and it's just going to keep going. So I'm going to reiterate what she said one more time. It's just going to keep going. So again, you guys don't know what season we're in yet, but it's going to get fun. Like it's going to get fun. It's going to get really like fiery and crazy, and just be ready to like enroll your like 84 customers in March. Okay. So like if you decide and make that decision, you can truly do that. But I appreciate you so much. Everything you said tonight was so amazing. You're like very red, but like so like cordial about it. You're like, just do this and just make up your mind to do this, have the aha moment, make your decision. But I love that. And I appreciate you so much tonight for being on. I know there's a lot of hungry girls right now that are on the Zoom, like a lot of hungry ladies that are ready. Like they are so close to double, they literally can taste it. So you being on tonight and just sharing that with us, I think it was just so cool how you said, double diamond is kind of like that life-changing money. And I think it's just so nice hearing it from someone else too, because it truly is. So I'm just so proud of each and every one of you for being on tonight. LeeAnn, thank you so much. We appreciate you. This was so sweet. And I will give you just all the love. And I do want to share your Facebook with everyone in case anyone wants to go follow her. She's very consistent. She constantly posts. She has very cute content. So I'm just going to hold this up here. Let me stop recording real quick. Um, but